Hello, and thank you for joining me, Shanny Leigh, for this gentle morning or evening yoga flow. Right now, it is just after sunrise in the Bahamas in Green Turtle Cay, so I hope you are living vicariously through this beautiful, beautiful scenery behind me. I am currently volunteering with an organization called All Hands and Hearts, supporting post-Dorian relief efforts. And so this is our little weekend getaway in between the work week. And I wanted to capture the moment here. And one note about this flow is I kind of fell on a boat yesterday, slipped on the boat. And so if I'm doing any modifications, it's because my right, it looks like your left knee kind of hurts. But this is what yoga is about, right? Modifying for how you feel during that day, how you feel in your body. And hopefully this helps it feel better and not worse. So I will see you on the mat. Let's get to it. So we'll get started in Balasana, child's pose. So your knees can be close together or further apart, depending on what feels better in your body. And then as you're ready, I invite you to extend your hands out onto the mat, sink your chest towards your thighs, maybe rest your forehead, your third eye space down. If that's not comfortable, you can always stack your hands and create like a little pillow. I'm going to start here today with the pillow. It helps ease a little bit of pressure on my knee. And I invite you to come to the breath, maybe for the first time today, especially if it's in the morning. So this will just be a nice, gentle, full body flow with a little bit of twisting and a little bit of balancing, just to start or end the day out well. Maybe you find as you breathe, you can change position. Maybe you can sink even closer. And even though your chest, the front of your lungs is pressing into your thighs, I encourage you, or between your thighs, I encourage you to feel the sensation of your lungs expanding in the back of your rib cage. Let's just take one more centering breath here. And big exhale, let it out. I encourage you to think of something that you're grateful. Or maybe you have an intention or a mantra for today's class. Bring that to mind just for one last moment. Exhale. And then as you're ready, I invite you to start to lift your chest away from your thighs, just enough to take your right hand, draw your elbow in, turn your palm up, and then shoot it off towards the left, and then sink your chest back down. Maybe your head touches the mat, maybe it no longer does, stretching into the top of the shoulder here. It's like thread the needle, but in child's pose. And remembering to breathe. With every exhale, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. So you're telling your body to rest and digest, right? It's okay. I can ease into this. Let's do one more round of breath here. Just in time for my forehead to reach the mat. And then lift it up. Unwind the arms. And now take your left hand. Elbow pulls in. Hand turns up. Cross it over and under and sink your chest back towards the mat. Maybe you notice one side is tighter than the other. That's okay, just knowing that we need to work both sides, but maybe just send a little bit more love to the side that is tight. Let's take one more moment here. And then slowly lift it back up. Stretch the arms back out in your child's pose. Big breath in. And on the exhale, we'll walk our hands off towards the right, finding a nice lateral extension in the left side body. If you want to increase this, you can stack your left hand on top of the right one. One more moment here. And let's take it to the other side. Again, maybe you stack the right on top of the left if that feels good. Last moment here, and then we'll get out of child's pose. Exhale, bring your hands back center. And on the inhale, slowly begin to walk your hands in towards your knees. Maybe you start to bring the knees gently together, coming into thunderbolt pose, Vajrasana here. So if this doesn't feel good, you can come to a cross-legged seat. I'm going to try this, and we will see how it goes with my bum knee sitting back on the heels. Maybe you close your eyes just for one more moment. Invite a smile to your face. And then slowly begin to flutter your eyes open. And then maybe start to take some neck rolls. Maybe you drop one ear to one side and draw it down, and then come to the other side. Maybe you look up and down, kind of releasing anything that's in a kink or something. Last moment here. Bring your head back to neutral. Take some shoulder rolls on your own breath and time. Work anything else out. And then shake it out, come back center. Next inhale brings your arms up into the sky, and we'll take it towards the right. Right hand comes to the mat, lean it over. Now you can stay here. You can increase this by dropping your top hand behind your head if you want. You can use that to draw down or open. Really, this is for you, right? Some intuitive movement. I'm guiding you, but ultimately feel what feels good or bad in the body and make an adjustment. Last round of breath. And then keeping our bottom hand on the mat, take your top hand, bring it to the opposite ear, and start to draw your left ear over towards your left shoulder. Here you can hover your right hand if you want to increase this, or you can just let it be by your side, nice and gentle. You choose your flow today. And then with nice soft movements, release the neck, and inhale, arms reach up, and we'll take it to the other side, this time leaning towards the left. Using your breath to breathe into your right side body. You can look up or down. Again, maybe even drop your hand behind your head and use that to open something up. Last moment here, and then we'll take that opposite ear, grab top hand, comes to the opposite ear, start to draw your right ear towards your right shoulder, and left hand can hover if it wants, or just hang out by your side. The last moment here. And then gently release the neck. Inhale, arms reach up, and we'll just take one little twist here towards the right, opposite hand to opposite knee. Look over your right shoulder. And then inhale, lift, and take it to the other side. Exhale. Right hand to left knee, look over your left shoulder. Inhale, bring it up, and coming into tabletop, hands come to the mat, and find your way there. Taking a moment to adjust as needed, hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Maybe you sway it out a little bit. We'll just take a few cows and cats. Start to find stillness on an exhale. Find your flat neutral back. First, actively press into all 10 fingers of your hands. Wrap your elbows in. And then on your next inhale, begin to drop your belly, shining your chest forward. Maybe you gaze up. And then exhale, start to tuck everything in, arching your back like a cat, really pushing into your fingers to help arch your upper back. And twice more. Breathe it in, Vidyalasana cow pose, swaying your back like a cow. And now arching your back like a cat. Exhale, Marjarasana. Last time, breathe in. And breathe out. Take a second to find neutral again, and we'll go right into downward facing dog. Begin to tuck your toes on the inhale, and exhale, start to lift your hips and send them back. So again, if you need to make any modification, you can. If you look at me right now, I'm kind of bending my right knee because that's just what feels good. I'll ease into this since it's a little tight. Maybe you walk your dog, maybe you sway side to side. And let's take One more round of breath here. Big sigh out. Start to find stillness. Your left foot stays. Inhale, right leg lifts up into the sky. Three-legged dog. Hold it here. Start to activate the body. Shoulders stay square towards the mat. Left heel reaches to the mat as your right heel reaches towards the sky. And we'll find our runner's lunge. On the exhale, start to move into a plank as you tuck your knee in. And with control, step it forward. Keep your back knee off the mat. Taking a second here to adjust your hands, frame your foot. And now you can stay here. If you need to drop the back knee, that's totally okay. Maybe you shift back and forth if that feels good. One more round of breath, and then we'll be finding what's like upward facing dog or downward facing dog in the upper body, off towards the left. So take your hands, walk them to the inside of your front foot, and then continue walking them over towards the left until you start to feel your hips shift, and that's where you stop. And then walk the hands further out, sinking your ears between your biceps. So you're in a lunge in the lower body and downward facing dog in the upper body. Maybe you release something in the neck. Maybe you release tension in the face if you're holding any. Last round of breath here. And then begin to take your hands back. Walk them in back towards your feet. Left hand stays. Open the right arm to the sky. Take a nice little twist. Gazing up to the sky. And now we'll be lifting into a reverse revolves lunge from this position. So start to ground in to your front heel. And then as you're ready, start to push into your heel to lift up, dropping your back hand towards your back leg, lifting the left arm up into the sky. And here you can drop the hand behind the head again if that feels good. Sending energy through the back heel, sinking towards 90 in the front knee. Gazing up or down or all the way around. Last moment here. And then inhale, undo whatever you have in the arms, if anything, and then exhale, bring your hands back to the mat. Find your lunge, and then we'll take it back to plank. Drawing your right foot back, extending it out, finding plank pose, and holding here. Exhale, finding a nice long line between the crown of the head and the tailbone and the heels, actively pressing the earth away. And then inhale, begin to shift your weight forward. Drop your knees to the mat. Keep your elbows in towards your ribcage as you drop your chest and chin. And then slither onto your stomach, roll the shoulders back. Lay the pelvis down. Lift the shoulders and the chest, baby cobra. Take one more round of breath here. And then we'll take it back to child's pose. Start to lift the chest up even more. Staying grounded in the knees. Tuck it back. Balasana. Inhale the breath here. And then lift up enough to tuck the toes. Downward facing dog. Exhale. Just taking it nice and slow for a little bit here. One more round of breath, and then we'll do that all on the other side. This time right foot stays. Inhale, left leg lifts up into the sky. Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana. Holding here just a moment. Last round of breath. And then finding our lunge. Start to draw your knee into your chest. Step it through. Stay high or drop your back knee, whatever you prefer. And settle in here. If you have blocks, you can also use those, or books, or really anything to help the floor rise up to meet you. Last round of breath, and now we'll find downward facing dog in the upper body. Start to walk your hands towards the right. And then once you reach that spot where your hips start to try to compromise, hold there and walk your hands out. Sink the chest and the head. Finding one more round of breath here. Start to walk the hands back in, bring them back in towards the inside of the foot. Right hand stays, the left arm opens up. Find your twist. Still send energy through the back heel. Still staying grounded in the front heel. If you feel your front toes really gripping, try to release some of the pressure. And then grounding down in your front heel to lift your entire chest. Start to cartwheel your arms up and back and find your reverse revolved lunge. 3 rounds of breath. Continuing to sink towards 90 in the front knee. Last moment here. Breathe through it. And then if your hand is anywhere behind your head or twisted, inhale, lift it up. And exhale, cartwheel the hands back to the mat, frame the foot, find your way to plank, and we'll move through our knees, chest without the child's pose. Inhale, shift your weight forward, drop the knees, exhale, drop the chest, slither through rising cobra this time. Pull your chest through, roll the shoulders back, lift your entire torso off the mat. Exhale, stay here. Inhale, 1 more round of breath. And then look over your right shoulder if that feels good. Bring it back center as you breathe in. Look over your left shoulder if that feels good as you breathe out. Center it, breathe in, tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Exhale, use your lower abdomen to lift your hips and push to the mat. Take 1 more round of breath here. Breathe it out. And then inhale, begin to lift the heels, bend the knees, gaze forward, and step or hop to the top of your mat to find forward fold Uttanasana. Release, exhale. Hang out here. Maybe you sway around. Maybe you grab the nape of your neck with your hands clasped. That relieves some pressure if you're holding a little bit in the upper body. Maybe you ragdoll your arms, really whatever feels best for you. You can even stack your hands underneath your feet if you want to do that. Let's take 1 more round of breath here. Whatever you have in the hands, release them back to the mat. And we'll lift up halfway, finding our flat back, Ardha Uttanasana, breathe it in. Fold it back down, exhale. Into chair pose, sit the hips back, and lift the arms up into the sky or bring them heart center, whatever works better for you, Utkatasana. 1 more round of breath here. And then inhale, stand up all the way, Urdhva upward salute. And exhale, bring your hands down by your side. Take a second, adjust here. And sigh it out. Inhale, arms reach up into the sky, and your right hand grabs your left wrist. Lean it over towards the right. One more round of breath here. And then inhale, lift it up, switch the grip, lean it the other way. Trying to imagine that maybe you're between 2 panes of glass, your hips are still pushing forward. Inhale, lift, and we'll find the same grip, but now bend the elbow and pull over. Last moment. Lift up, switch, take it to the other side, leaning to the left. Inhale, lift it back up, and hands come back by your side or at your heart center. Finding a little bit of balance here. Start on your right foot, finding weight there. Turn your left toes out, and now you can either kickstand your foot, bring it right below your knee, or draw it into tree pose all the way up. This is the knee that's kind of compromised today. So I'm just going to slowly lift it, see how far I go in standing staff. But maybe you find tree pose. Just doing what works again in your body. This is a perfect example of turning my knee out in that way right now does not feel good, so I'm not gonna do it. Knowing that that doesn't mean I can't ever do it or haven't been able to do it. Finding a little bit of balance here in our crazy lives. Last round of breath. And then with control, whatever you have, drop your foot back to the mat. And we'll take that to the other side, finding your weight in your left foot, turning your right toes out, and now staying here in a kickstand, lifting the foot right below the knee or helping it get all the way up into Vrikshasana, tree pose. Maybe you stay here. If you fall out of it, again, totally okay. Some days we have better balance than others. You can lift your hands up into the sky. You can bring them into Anjali Mudra behind your back. Kind of whatever works for you. Let's do one more round of breath here. Side out. And then inhale, arms sweep up, gently release. And taking it to chair pose, exhale, sit the hips back. Utkatasana. Breathe it in here. And now bring your hands heart center. Prayer pose. Inhale, and we'll find a twist towards the right. Exhale, start to hook the outside of your left elbow towards the outside of your right knee. If you need to move your feet together, you can. And now actively press your elbow into your knee. Hands into each other, maybe you gaze up. And it's really easy for your hips to shift, so keep trying to find center in the hips. One more round of breath here. Bring it back center, breathe in. Take it to the other side, breathe out. One more round of breath here, Utkatasana, nice little twist, nice little full body activation. Exhale the breath, bring it back center, inhale, and exhale, fold it forward, Uttanasana. Halfway lift, nice flat back, breathe it in, and take it to your plank step or hop your way back. Round of breath here. Exhale, side out, and then move through your vinyasa. If you want to do the knees, chest, chin, you can, or you can do upward facing dog. Either way, exhale, slightly lower through chaturanga, knees, chest, chin. Shine your chest forward as you breathe in, and upward facing dog or rising cobra. And tuck the toes, exhale, downward facing dog. One round of breath here. Exhale, side out, and we'll add a little twist. Left hand stays, draw your right elbow in, cross your right hand underneath, grab your left leg, find a twist. Last moment. And unwind, take it to the other side. Left hand reaches underneath for your right leg, wherever it arrives. Find a twist. And exhale, release. On your next inhale, right foot lifts up into the sky, and now we'll come into plank, drawing our knee into our chest. Exhale, hold it here, and now cross your ankle over your knee and push your hips back towards downward facing dog again, finding a four square pigeon in the legs as you stay in downward facing dog in the upper body. Trying to still not hyperextend your left leg if you find yourself doing that. One round of breath, and we'll slowly make our way into pigeon pose. If that means you want to come to a seat, you can. Otherwise, inhale, start to shift your weight back forward, drawing your right knee towards your right elbow. Draw your left foot towards the heel of your left hand, sink the hips down, and maybe sink into pigeon, if this feels good in your body. If not, you can come to a seat, and you can have the left foot on the mat as you draw your right ankle over your left knee. And then you decide how close you want your legs and your chest together. So whatever feels better in your body. Again, this is my kind of bum leg today. So I think this felt a little better for me. And now you can stay up nice and tall. You can sink your chest to the mat. Whatever feels better for you. We'll stay here for about 3 more rounds of breath. Let's do last round of breath here. Try to find some type of release. Inhale, start to walk your hands back up in towards you. Otherwise, if you're in a seat, come to tabletop. And we'll all make our way back to 3-legged dog. Start to lift it up if you need to adjust on your mat to get there. Right foot extends back into the sky, and then it drops down. Tripada Adho Mukha Svanasana to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Taking it to the other side, start to lift your left foot into the air as you breathe in. And now start to find your plank. Draw your knee in and cross your left ankle over your right knee and push your hips back to find your 4 square-legged downward facing dog. You can try not to hyperextend your knee if you feel you're doing that. Last round of breath. And then take it to pigeon pose. If that means you need to come to a seat, do that. Otherwise, bring left elbow and left knee together. Swing your foot off towards the right and sink it down into your version of pigeon pose. Maybe you stay out here shining your chest forward if you want to get more in the hip flexor. You can also do a quad stretch by grabbing your back knee, or you can sink your chest into the mat. And we'll take from here 3 more rounds of breath. Last round of breath. And then as you already start to slowly on an inhale, walk your hands in or come back to slowly tabletop. If you're in a seat, we'll make our way back to 3-legged dog. Tuck the back toes, start to lift it up if you need to adjust on your mat. Again, my bum knee makes me a little less fluid today. Stretch the left leg into the sky and downward facing dog. Now we'll do a few vinyasa flows to kind of close out the non-seated portion of class before you turn back to the mat. So as you're ready, inhale, start to lift your heels, bend your knees to the mat, drop them fully, keep the elbows in, drop the chest and chin, slither on through, push your way up, cobra pose, tuck the toes, and downward facing dog. Exhale, lift the hips and send them back. So do that a few more times. If you want to advance that, I'll do the advanced version, which would be lifting the heels and not dropping the knees, keeping the elbows in and just dropping the chest. And then you can untuck the toes and push through into upward facing dog, hips off the mat. Exhale, downward facing dog. So let's do 3 more rounds of that. You pick your version, knees to the mat or not. Inhale, we all lift the heels to prep. Exhale, we all dive down and through. Inhale, we all lift up. And exhale, we all take it back. The lower to the mat version, one more time. Inhale, everyone lift. Exhale, dive or drop the knees, elbows in, swinging the chest through. Cobra, upward facing dog as you inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more time, inhale, prep. Exhale, bend or dive. Inhale, shine. And exhale, take it back. 1 round of breath. And maybe jump it through. We'll find our way to a seat however you want. Exhale, either stepping or jumping or sitting or making your way as you need. Again, my knee is making me go a little slower today. And we'll bring it into a seated wide angle pose. Taking a second here to adjust. Inhale, sit up nice and tall, legs in a V, and exhale, start to walk it forward. Now there's 2 ways you can do this. You can try to keep a flat back and hinge forward from the waist, or you can kind of dump into it. Maybe you touch your toes if that feels good, if it's available. And we'll hang out here. This is one of the harder poses for me to do, meaning I probably should do it more. Let's take 1 more round of breath. Slowly start to roll up, and now take your left knee, start to draw it in, if that feels okay. And now 2 options here. Sitting up nice and tall, you can turn your torso towards your right leg and fold it over. Or if you want to get more of a lateral side extension, inhale, lift the arms up and lean, same arm, your right arm, trying to grab your foot. Your left arm extends over. So either way, inhale to lift and exhale, either turn and fold or reach and stretch. Again, you can have your hand behind your top hand behind your head if you're doing the lateral kind of side extension here in Janushirasana. Maybe on the exhale you find a little bit more release each time. And 1 more round of breath here. It just feels really good. Slowly start to unwind wherever you are. Extend your left leg back out. And now take your right foot in towards the inside of your left leg. And either, again, inhale, rise, turn and fold, or rise and extend and reach. Your right arm extends overhead if you're in the side extension, or drops behind your head. And if you're in the forward fold more, again, you can hinge. Imagine that your waist is a hinge and try to have a flat back. You can use a towel or a strap, or you just dump into it. Last moment here. It feels really good for me right now. So I just want to stay a little bit longer in this nice juicy stretch. And then exhale, slowly start to unwind. Start to widen your foot out, coming into butterfly pose. Bring the soles of the feet together, and they can be as close together or as far apart as you want, and we'll hang out here, grabbing your toes. Maybe you flutter your legs, maybe you fold, or if they're wider out, you can slip your hands underneath and fold your chest. Again, choosing what feels good in the body. If you want to get more into the side, you can dip your elbow into your leg and push the other knee away gently. There's lots of options and variations for you today. And we'll just take one more moment here before making our way onto our back. So as you need to get there, find your way. Laying it down, the soles of the feet can be on the mat for a moment, and then draw the legs into the chest. Maybe give yourself a little massage or rock, and then inhale, maybe you straighten the legs to the sky, maybe you roll the ankles around a bit. And now cross your right on an exhale, right knee over your left one so that there's very little space. So it's not like pigeon. And then bend both, and maybe you grab both knees, maybe you grab your knees, maybe you grab your shins, maybe you grab your ankles. Just try to exhale, release, and pull your knees into the chest. These are Gomukhasana, cow face pose legs, just on your back. Just a different way to get into the hips. One more round of breath here. And then slowly start to straighten it out and cross it over. Exhale, taking it to the other side. Just a few more rounds of breath here. Last round of breath. And then we'll find a supine twist. If you liked the cross in the legs, you can bring it back and cross right over left again. Otherwise, just bring your knees together. Arms come out to a T, and drop your knees off to the left, gazing over the right shoulder. If that doesn't feel good in the body, just unwind the knees. It doesn't feel good on that side right now because of my knee. And stack them. Still a great release in the low back. Last round of breath. And start to bring it up. If you have the cross, bring it to the other side. Left crosses over right. And then, or you just stack the knees and drop your knees off to the right and gaze over to the left. Right, and at any point, I'm even feeling that, right, of like, oh, I normally can do that stretch, but I have to find a variant today. It's a little frustrating. Trying to let go of that ego, right? It's okay if we don't have a quote-unquote perfect looking yoga as long as it's what's good for our body. Exhale, slowly start to bring your knees back together. Last thing here, keep your knees in towards your chest, shine the soles of the feet towards the sky or the ceiling. Grab the bottom of your feet, finding happy baby, Ananda Balasana. Roll and rock it out. Taking one more moment here. And now you can stay here. You can bring your knees back into your chest. You can slowly find your final resting pose, whatever that means to you, Shavasana or reclined butterfly pose. You can have the soles of the feet together and the knees out. Or you just lay it all flat in corpse pose. Maybe bring one hand to your heart center, one hand to your stomach. Let's close out class with a little bit of a meditation here. In honor of the light that is shining on my face right now, this beautiful Bahamian sun, I encourage you to think of a little sun, a little ball of light inside of you and about your heart center. And now maybe think of someone you love, someone that is dear to you, platonically or romantically, and imagine that light growing a little bit bigger. And now maybe think of a group that you love. Maybe you have a dance group, a book club, co-workers. Bring this group, this community to mind and let your light visualize grow just a little bit bigger inside of your chest. And now imagine maybe people that you don't know, right? Maybe you think of everyone in the state or country that you're living in or the city that you're living in. Maybe they don't have faces or names, but just think of how many people are in your area. Breathe in, let your light grow even bigger. Maybe it's just expanding outside of your chest right now, right? Like in The Grinch, his heart grows 3 times or whatever it is. And now think of your body, think of you, and let that light fully fill you. Just imagine that you are just this glowing body of light. And know that this is your light. This is the light that you bring to the world. This is the light that you bring to the person that you love, to the group that you care for, and to the community of people that you may or may not even know yet. Your unique light that only you can shine. So go out and shine it. If that's one thing that you do today, let your light shine in the world, because it would be a little bit darker without it. As you're ready to exhale, slowly let your mind come back to the body and the breath. And then you can stay here, or you can slowly start to make your way out of your final resting position. Maybe you come onto your side if that's what feels good. Just finding gentle movements in the body first, maybe weaving or wiggling your toes and your fingers. If that little light visualization was cheesy, sorry, not sorry. Every now and then we need to be reminded of our own light, what we bring, what we have to offer, making your way to a seat. Whatever that means for you, or a final resting position. Sitting up nice and tall. And let your hands come heart center, and let's place one palm on top of the other. Bow your head slightly. I tend to always be like looking up or something. Remember your light, because the light in me recognizes, honors, loves, and encourages the light in you. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.